welcome to the light side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio and all podcast catchers and on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you listen to us. I'm Dark Mark, the goth comedian. I'm suddenly tongue-tied. I have a feeling why. There's some weird energy in this room, and it's going to be great. This is a great collection of people, and I'm going to start with everybody's favorite horror writer, Nicole Six.
Good evening, or afternoon, I guess.
Yes. This is, I think I'm tongue-tied because we haven't been in the studio in 2023.
It's our first time.
And this is quite a show to start off with.
Yes, I think that the guests are very interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
I think there's some divine intervention for this show.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I think it all fell together quite nicely.
Right. Now, have you met some interesting people so far in 2023?
Yes.
Right. Well, I've met some interesting people so far in 2023. I went to Das Bunker the first day they had it back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I met this young lady, sans makeup, and our friend was introducing her, and then like, oh, she's a clown. She eats glass. She breathes fire. I'm like, how do I not know who this is? Right. There she is right there. It's Bangs the Clown.
To be fair, I eat fire and walk on glass, but I have eaten glass. But my friend also used to eat glass, and she started pooping blood, and I was like, I'm just gonna walk on it.
No, we're going to talk about eating glass because we've had guests that have eaten glass on the show, so I know all about it.
And so. I guess I don't want to call myself a fire breather because I am too chicken, to be honest. But if you swallow the fluid, even like a little bit, you have to go to the hospital. But I'm so accident prone that I was like, I know what will happen. I'll just be like, gulp. Oh no!
We're going to talk about all of that, okay. And we were actually going to have you on with a different guest, but the universe stepped in, and I didn't even know this person until last week. But she is a very, very funny comedian, a podcaster in her own right, and an astrologer and a tarot card reader. But it's Kristy Belich.
Belich, perfect.
Yes, and I did a show with you, which was not the ideal comedy show by any stretch of the imagination, but you were very funny and a very unique comic, and Nicole will tell you, I don't run across them very often.
It's true. He's judgmental of himself, and he's judgmental of other comics. He only expects the best.
Well, no, I expect originality, and I don't see it very often, but I saw it with you, so I was very, very pleased to see that, and I'm very pleased that you're here. And by the way, we're taping on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's why our other guests just couldn't make it, but we got three people who could give two shits about the Super Bowl, so this is gonna be great. I'm sorry, Banks, maybe you do give a shit about the Super Bowl. No.
No, I did never watch sports. I was terrible at playing sports, and I went to arts high school and arts college, so there was no sports teams.
Right.
It just never. Although in my day job as a nanny, she started playing basketball, and I got really emotionally invested in her team, and I was like, oh no, this is how it gets you. Like, I kind of understand it now. But yeah, I didn't know it was Super Bowl Sunday until you mentioned it.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't even know either. I just realized it like Thursday, and I was like, oh, okay. And Nicole picked the date, by the way. And Kristy, you have a podcast. Can you believe this is her first podcast? She's such a natural.
Supernatural.
That too. Well, before we get started, I do have to you can sip on your rosé, but I am going to be sipping on this Ray's energy drink, our sponsor. This is the best energy drink ever. Oh yeah, you guys toast. Go ahead and toast. Okay, I'm toasting with Ray's energy drink, the best energy drink. I've tried them all. This is the best. This is Baja Lime flavor, which tastes like Baja Blast from Taco Bell. Okay. But what's great about Ray's, 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 crash, and they're not available in stores. They're available in GNCs, Vitamin Shops, but don't pay full price. Use our code and get 15% off a case of Ray's. And I'm telling you, this is the best. It's delicious. So I need my energy to keep up with clowns and psychics and astrologers and everybody's favorite horror writer and all that. Also, I do have to mention we have another sponsor, and this may have something to do because we have a predominantly male audience. So some guys have problems, but we have the solution. The solution is Eddie by Giddy. This is not a pill. this is a device, a wearable device that works. I've seen the testimonials, and you can giggle if you want, but it's no laughing matter if you have a problem like this. But you get Eddie by Giddy. Some people, it works the first time. Some people, that's all they need. Some people, they wear it every time, and it gets blood flow right where you need it. And you can get 20% off with the code. Go ahead, Nicole.
So I recently watched a movie that's based off a Stephen King book called Gerald's Game.
Right.
And he took Viagra and he had a heart attack. You won't have that problem with Eddie by Giddy.
That's right. Don't have a heart attack. Don't take Viagra. Eddie by Giddy.
Yeah.
Now, Nicole, since you watched Gerald's Game, I guess who do we talk to first, Bangs or Kristy? They're both fascinating.
I would talk to Kristy first, just because I could go in order.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Oh, yes, because she was here first. You were here right on time. You found the studio. Kristy, now you grew up in Washington, D.C.?
I grew up in a place called Laurel, Maryland.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you were in the city, Washington, D.C. is, and you tell me because you grew up in the suburbs, I'm assuming, but you have every powerful, rich person, all the senators, and you have some of the most abject poverty of any place.
Yeah.
Where did you fall in that spectrum?
Right in the middle, because I grew up in a military family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
My dad was stationed in D.C., but they're originally from a little town outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And I'm the Marylander of the family.
All right.
So, yeah.
One
And
of my best friends is from Maryland. It sounds like an interesting place because you are so close to Washington, D.C.
We're super close, and I grew up in the horse community, so I took
Right.
care of all the rich people's horses.
Interesting.
oh, wow.
So,
Okay. Now, you must have some stories about that.
So many stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you tell us one?
I mean, I'm thinking about, I had a college professor who also rode horses,
Mhm.
and her father-in-law is still a high-ranking United States senator.
Mm-hmm.
So
Who shall remain nameless because I don't want you to die.
it shall remain nameless, but it's very interesting. I also, because I grew up in that area, I had several internships with, I had one with a Maryland senator,
Mhm.
and then I also had one with the Secretary of the United States Senate. So I have seen major bills be put through, and this dates me, but I was in an intern when the Patriot Act was going down, so I attended a lot of the hearings, and I was able to kind of see the fuck shit that actually goes on behind closed doors.
The Patriot Act is definitely fuck shit, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
And I remember how old I was when that passed, so you look great for your age.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad you said it on me. That's right. Jeez, Nicole, what's the matter with you?
I was listening to I'm so intimidated because I was listening to your podcast earlier on the way
Yeah.
to kind of get in the mood, to get in the energy, and I was like, okay, just like beautiful models, porn stars, and then me coming from working at a horse farm this morning.
And you don't smell. I know you were concerned about that. You do not smell. Bangs, you're closer. Does she smell?
No, I just, as soon as you said that,
You don't smell either. You both smell wonderful.
I brought spray if you need it. It's rose scented.
To go with the rosé wine,
Right,
of course.
yes.
But I was like, y'all teach me your ways because I need like a glow up this year. I need the Hollywood people to just make me look like you. Like I just.
Oh, stop it. You stop it with the
No, I mean it
self-deprecation.
with
You're
love.
beautiful. What are you
I
talking
mean it
about?
with love. I need y'all. I was listening to the podcast. I was like, this is exactly where I need to be today.
Well, you were listening to the Makeover podcast, so
Yeah.
I think I smell rebooking. I think we're going to get you a makeover. We're going to get some people from
We should
Vampire
bring
Cosmetics?
Yep, Vampire Cosmetics is they've
Right.
been. I don't want to. They're not an official sponsor, but they have let me have their makeup on multiple occasions, and like I love the makeup. I love promoting it, and it's just like it's the red I'm wearing right now. It's just such a smooth thing. It's vegan. It also has like it doesn't have like dyes or anything of that's dangerous in it. It's like really good for you. Like she takes very good care of what she puts into her makeup.
And Vegan Cosmetics, if you want to officially sponsor the show, please do. So, but I mean, I'm because we were talking because you were like, should I dress goth? Now, I'm assuming you had a goth phase at some point.
Punk pop.
More punk
Like,
pop.
you know,
Okay.
like-
Well, because you were, that makes sense. Like Patriot Act, it was kind of the strokesy sort of thing. So that was kind of what you were into.
Warp tour.
Even more
punky.
punky.
Warp tours here?
I went to Warp
I
Tour.
like the Warp Tour. I was in Colorado at the time, and I didn't go to it very often because it was expensive for me because, again, of my age. But I loved every lineup, and I always wanted to go, and I was huge into emo. I like to listen to the same music I listened to from 1998 to 2010. That's where I'm at musically. I love listening to
Right.
that. When I do karaoke, I always sing something
So
from that time
you're a
era.
Warped Tour. I went to a Warped Tour once. I was way
You
too
went
old.
to the Warped Tour?
Way too old for it. I got free tickets and I was in Vegas and I was like, in my 30s walking around. Everybody's like 12 years old. I was like, but it was weird. Like my buddy Boston's place. So I wasn't the only old person there, but they were pretty old. So you were more popular. You never got into the goth because you're
on the edge, because the
Right.
other podcast I do with Jake,
Yeah.
we go into like different genres of music. I mean,
Mhm.
would you consider Morrissey like kind of on the
He's
edge?
a little goth.
That's because funny you should mention that because I just went I went to an
Club
80s
Decades.
club decades and it was 80s Smiths night and they had a Smiths cover band and they were really good. But they had a cutout of Morrissey, so I took a couple pictures of Morrissey, and then somebody actually messaged me. It was like, "How'd you meet him?" I'm like, "It's a cardboard cutout. It's not Morrissey." So, but these are the eternal questions. Now, is Depeche Mode goth or the Smiths goth?
I think
And if
they're
not,
on the edge.
why not?
They're on the edge because like
Right.
the Smiths, I feel like brought us. It's because it's like the emo cry, bring us into the emo. It's like that
The Smiths are proto emo, yes.
Yeah.
the taint of music, the taint of goth.
Except, and this is my problem with emo, and it's just personally. Emo people are the least emotional people I've ever met in my life. They really are. I mean, Morrissey is definitely emotional, whatever you think of him. You could tell he's like a miserable, just really emotional crybaby, but every emo kid is just like, there's nothing there. There's nothing passive facade from what I've met.
Kind of like how metalheads are some of like the kindest people I've ever met. in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying I haven't met any decent emo people, but
sure. No.
but I just have never seen emotion. That's the thing.
That's why they
I
love the
remember
music.
when I was in my Let's Go to Every My Chemical Romance phase. Every show I was there waiting in line, very young, and not too young. I was over 18, but I was like still young, and so I'd be young enough that I'd wait in line for a concert, and I'd be out there with them, and they always are having so much fun. You're right, the emo fans are happy.
Yes.
They're happy people.
Yes. Well, goth people are happy for the most part because they get the darkness out.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the same thing with emo people. Like, occasionally you'll have an emo person that is suicidal or a cutter. That does happen.
Mhm.
But for the most part, they get it out through the music. That's what makes emo so beautiful.
Right.
Is they feel finally understood by these musicians, and then they can like get a safe space. Plus, it's also got a really big community. You can always find other people.
Well, that's the thing. They actually have friends that I don't think goths do, and or they do have the community. But my whole thing with emo is, to me, emo are popular kids that want to be a little edgy, but don't want to go all the way to the goth.
Well,
That's my theory, but I could be wrong.
Well, where I came from, we had two places. We had 930 Club, which is like the biggest, I guess, venue in DC.
Okay.
I also went to a place called the Thunderdome in Baltimore. Pretty much so many Fridays, and it was like the underground emo scene. And
See, that sounds cool. I get Thunderdome. If you're gonna go clubbing, let's go to Thunderdome, right? Banks like, yeah, I want to go to Thunderdome.
It was like what you would see in like a movie, but they did shut it down eventually.
They shut every cool place down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's where like I probably shouldn't have been let in there. I was still in high school.
Mhm.
But I dated back in the day like a lead singer of a band for many years, and he did like the local scene, I
Right.
guess.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you were able to get in, older man.
Like he was my age, but I don't know how we got into these places. I
Right.
really don't know how we were allowed.
Right.
But we went in. We partied. It was a party.
So you were the girlfriend of the lead singer of a hot band, and now you're like, geez, could you make me over? I don't know what.
You know, that's what years and time and comedy does.
Oh,
too,
so-
you
well,
know?
Comedy will do this, but I don't know if clowning does this. Now, Bangs, I usually do a copious amounts of research, and you don't have a big online presence. It's very strange. I was trying, but
Well,
I did find out though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your mother was a clown.
she was a clown.
Yes.
Yeah, that's usually when people say, "How did you get into clowning?" I
Mhm.
usually say, "Well, the first time I was ever a clown, I was 8 years old, and it was by force because my mother wanted to dress my sister and I as little clowns to twirl around her during this parade." Yeah. So it was like a terrible experience because she painted my sister and I exactly how she painted herself.
Mhm.
So when I looked in the mirror, I was like, I look like my mother, and it was weird.
Yeah.
And then during the actual parade, my mom was playing the concertina, and my sister and I were twirling, and it was like a 2-mile parade, which isn't that much unless you're twirling
Mhm.
for 2 miles. I remember stopping and being like, Mom, I'm tired, and like through her teeth, she was like, keep dancing. It hit me up like I don't know, but and then
Now, how did your mom get into clowning?
my mom was a special person. She definitely was the type of person who just picked up new stuff throughout her whole life. Like
Mhm.
she would just be like, I've never done oil painting, and then she would like learn how to do it and get really into it, and then
Okay.
like move on to stuff that she just found interesting. And she worked in the the movie industry. I was like, what's that word? She worked in the movie industry for like 30 years. And when that kind of like died down
Yeah.
for her in my childhood, she went to a kid's party and saw this clown named Happy Bo Bappy. And she was like, I could do that. I could totally be a
Well,
clown.
if Happy Bo Bappy
Well,
can
my
do
mom-
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
my mom also played guitar and she tap danced, and so she was like, I want to be a clown, and we're gonna. And so she learned how to be a clown from Happy Bo Bappy. But this is like mortifying for me as a child because
Right.
I lived in a small mountain town in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
So then I became the clown's daughter. And everybody saw my mom hanging out with Happy Bo Bappy, and they would come up to me and be like, is your dad Happy Bo Bappy? And I'd be like, no, my dad's name is Charlie. He's a normal man who's not a clown. Yeah, I used to get on the bus and the kids would sing this song. My mom's
Do,
clown-
do, 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 do,
yeah,
do,
pretty
do.
much, but
Right,
a
yeah.
little worse because my mom's clown name was Marilyn Macaroni, and my sister and I would get on the bus and they'd say, Marilyn Macaroni, doodly 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 doo, full of baloney. And then, like, as a kid, you're just like, wow. Like, it was so embarrassing.
Madeline Macaroni is cute.
No, it was cute, and she was fully Italian, so
Right.
it kind of made sense. But when I became a teenager, she was like, if you want money, you have to work, and the only work that you can probably do at 15 years old is help me at these clown parties.
Wow.
And do face painting and balloon animals, and I was like, I refuse, I will not be a clown, I'm not doing it. I was really into ballet at the time, so she
Right.
was like, fine, you could be Tina the ballerina, come in a tutu, do the face painting, the balloons, you'll get $40. And I was like, oh my God, $40. I was like, yes, I will do it. Which led to like just weird times. Like my whole teenage years was just like my mom in her clown outfit and me in a tutu covered in glitter, and she loved being a clown. She loved attention.
Right.
She would always wait to get groceries until after we did a clown party. I'm pretty sure so she could walk through the grocery store and people would be like, oh my God, a clown. And then she'd be like, I'm 65. And then she'd just like drop in the splits. And I was always just like so embarrassed. But yeah, so I did those kind of parties with her for years and years and years. I went to a very liberal arts college for dance.
Mhm.
And they have a very wild Halloween party.
Right.
And I decided to be a sexy clown, which was like very like wild for me at the time. It was like the first time I ever wore nipple pasties. So, like people with the campus was like clothing optional. Like I felt safe there. Like it wasn't like
Oh, wait a second. What campus is clothing
CalArts.
optional?
California Institute of the Arts.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
think
they
we're
have
going to do a remote show at California Institute. Yeah.
So yeah, they had a pool. And, like I never went in naked, but like other people did. I was very like not shy, a little more reserved, I guess. But I remember I was just wearing like nipple pasties and a tutu and some striped stockings and like a clown face. And I just remember like walking through the party feeling like the most badass, sexy person in the world. And I was like, what is that about? And then I just sort of like, I was really into modern dance. I was really into like performance art. I was really into comedy, and I was really into. I started learning sideshow stuff like
Right.
the glass walking and fire eating stuff,
Right.
and I was doing all of those things separately. And then I realized if I created a clown character, I could do them all at once. Like it could be like an all-encompassing.
So you went from being embarrassed to being a clown. But
Yeah.
and by the way, I know you were made fun of about your mom, but
Yeah.
all that you say about your mom, the three of us are like, she sounds like the coolest fucking person I've ever
She
heard.
was. I mean, she was a complex person, like
Mhm.
most people are, but the parts of her that I appreciate are the ones that I mentioned, like
Right.
her zest for life, and always just like do. I obviously am the person I am because of her. Like
Right.
she
And
always-
also, apparently, you look just like her, so she was a very attractive woman.
I think so. She was 5'1" on her tall leg, and I am 5'9". Yeah,
I'm sorry. Could you clarify that tall
She
leg?
had one leg that was 1.5 inches shorter than her other leg.
Oh wow.
So she not only was small, but like really small.
Lopsided?
Yeah, and she was about this tall.
Right.
It was like as soon as I grew to my full height, like hugs with my mom were like a little weird.
Yeah, because she's like at an angle, and yeah,
it was like
she's right at your pasty.
yeah,
Right.
it was like, do you want to motorboat your mom or not? Those are like
No, your mom's motorboating you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, trust me.
Thank you.
Trust me. This visual will be running in my head for days. But and have some more wine if you'd
I
like.
was gonna
Thank
pour
you.
some for her,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Go right ahead. But what I was gonna say is well, you would have to put take the cap off. That's a clowning
I'm
bit.
just gonna go die real quick.
That's a clown. I see you were doing a clowning bit, obviously.
No, I really want to die.
When we met, I want to get this out of the way because when we met, and this is why it's serendipitous that you and Kristy are here together.
Mhm.
When we met,
Mhm.
we were introduced by our mutual friend Master Overbound and our former guest and our friend Jenna, who's a former guest as well.
Mhm.
And we were talking for a while, and you're like, "Well, what's your sign?" And you knew I was going to bring this up, and I said,
I didn't. I forgot that I asked you, but that
Yeah.
sounds like me.
"Yeah." You're like, "What's your sign?" And I said, "Well, you talked to me for a little bit. You must know what it is."
Guess it, right?
Well, you guessed about 7 or 8 signs.
And then I got it.
You never got it. You never got because I told you 3 times, like, "Do you give up? Do you give up?" And you're like, "No, I'm going to get it."
Because there's only 12, so I was like, I'll get there.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
eventually,
You're
and then
only 4
you
away.
you finally gave up, and I told you I was a Scorpio,
Mm,
and you said, "Now that makes sense."
it does. Now
Right.
that you're telling me.
Is it coming back to you?
Yes.
No, it's fun. The thing is, because we have Kristy here. Kristy is an astrologer,
Yeah.
and Kristy, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a skeptic. I'm the one person in the room that's going to be a little skeptical. So,
Cool to be skeptic.
yeah. So, how did you become an astrologer? And do you have to get a degree for this? How do you become an official astrologer?
Well, I would consider myself an intuitive astrologer.
Okay.
But you can get like a certificate. There's a couple of different groups you can get them from, or certification programs.
Is that like my? By the way, I'm a minister with the Universal Life Church, so I've got that. Is it like one of those things?
Sort of. It's to show that you studied and you understand like the chart system and how everything kind of goes around, knowing something called transits, aspects between planets, things like that, and knowing how to cast a natal chart or a chart set for a specific time.
Right.
I started because I used to be in the sciences and science research. That was what I started my career as.
Really?
Yes.
So we keep peeling these layers. Now you were scooping shit behind senators' horses. Now you're
Very true.
and you got to see some state secrets and some Patriot Act stuff. Let me ask you: is there something that didn't get in the Patriot Act that they tried to push through and it got blocked at some point?
Okay, from what I observed, because this was during college, that I observed like a lot of how meetings are set or how hearings are set, and I would say on the span of like the last 20 years, I just have a lot more questions than possible answers.
Right.
So we have a plethora of information going on in society.
Mm-hmm.
And even right now, we have like quote unquote unidentified flying objects being shot down.
Right.
Over the last week and a half. And it's like, I have a lot more questions than answers.
Well, they've actually admitted that there are UFOs.
Yes.
So and nobody cared, which is weird.
It just came out at the right time, which is probably why they released it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what research were you doing?
I've done a lot of research. I started out my career during the Iraq-Afghanistan war,
Mm-hmm.
and it was tough because it was an economic recession.
Right.
So I got a job doing animal research for a lab that was quote unquote doing cancer research, but all of the contracts were military. So it was mainly war research.
Oh, man. See, I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you were talking about vegan makeup because that's something I commit to because I used to do animal experiments, and that is one realm I can at least give back to. So if people are your listeners, like that's one way to actually help is to use vegan makeup because that's one contribution.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to work with very large primates.
Comedians?
Something like that. They were comedians for sure.
Yeah, because so you apes, monkeys,
rhesus macaques,
orangutans.
monkeys.
Yeah, no, I think the concept of military experiments on animals is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
So how did you go from all of that? Now, were you an astrologer first or a comedian first?
I actually didn't start comedy until I was 28. So I'm 36 now.
Right.
And
you're not nearly as old as I thought. You made it sound so much worse.
I was gonna say when you said that, it's like, Nicole, you realize she's the same age. You guys are the same age.
I am also the same age.
I'm the old one in the room, but yeah, everybody, look, we're gonna call this a 36 show. This is 36. It's the 36 club, and I shaved off 6 years of my age, so I can. So, but what prompted? Yeah, I thought you started like 10 years ago, but it's been 8 years. So,
I started because of a lot of PTSD related to the field of science research. There's a lot of stuff that goes on.
I can only imagine
that I find out.
I would be scarred for life. Like I can't even imagine that. I wouldn't be able to do it.
It's a tough haul, and I was living in New York City in the last lab I was in, which was human studies, but just seeing kind of how the background of like politics to science really collides, especially in a community where I was, which is like Spanish Harlem area. The university I worked for, like I just have again a lot of questions. So comedy does allow me to explore these questions through humor. And my voice, I think, was developed just out of sheer PTSD.
Right.
Like, so if you see a unique person, it's basically just my PTSD coming out to play with everybody.
No, but it is, as I said, and as I message you, it's a unique cadence, and I don't see that a lot. I see comedy is just so, it's like, okay, well, and especially, we did a show that I love the guys that, and by the way, we won. We both won sports prizes.
Oh, yeah, we won. Oh, I won an NFL trophy.
You won a Super Bowl replica trophy that was a coin bank.
Yep.
And I won a baseball card plaque of Frank Thomas, the baseball player. The two people in the comedy show that could give two shits about sports won the sports memorabilia. So I like the guys that put it on, and I hope the show builds. But it was a weird night, and not the most ideal night. But you shined.
Well, thank you, and I loved your set. I love how you work the crowd.
Well, there's one person in the crowd, so that's all I had to work with. And she was talking to me like I was having a conversation. I'm like, I'm not having a conversation with you. I'm doing a bit, but that's what happens when you got one person in the crowd. So then when did you become an astrologer?
It was during I was working in human studies in New York City, and this gets too deep, but I had to get physical therapy for something called endometriosis and pelvic floor problems, which is like sex problems basically, which I think is very interesting. That I'm among Scorpio and a Leo, and I'm not sure your sign, but
I'm a Capricorn.
I love it. We have fixed signs, cardinal signs over here. Love it.
Well, what's the difference between a fixed sign and a cardinal sign?
Cardinal signs, we represent the seasons.
And that's on that side of the table.
And leadership. And then fixed signs kind of hold it down. So y'all are holding it down over there.
I guess it's good that we're the hosts.
Good point. Yes.
I had to get intervaginal physical therapy.
Right. You really wanted to deflect off that, and I understand that, but that's unfortunate. But it is the Dark Mark Show. We are probably going to talk about sex at some point. But what I love about your podcast is that you give astrological readings, but they're dirty. You have, because on stage you weren't dirty when I saw you, but on your podcast you have a potty mouth.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I noticed. So it's good to hear potty mouth astrology. How did you go from this physical challenge to becoming an astrologer?
So my physical therapist was literally in my vaginal canal, and she stopped for a second. She's like, "This is gonna sound weird," and she's like, "I know that you're going to be receptive towards this, but I'm getting an intuitive hit that," and this was like a physical therapist. It wasn't any woo woo. There was no sage around. It was just like a physical therapist office. And she goes, "I think you need to check out this astrologer, and I think you need to work with her." And so I listened to her, and I worked with an astrologer, and I've been doing astrology since 2011.
Wow,
yeah.
So she basically, instead of tarot reading, she read your vagina.
She read my vagina, and apparently my vagina wanted astrology. Who
right. You had the
Cosmic.
You had what is the card for future work? It's like the
for future work.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something that like new opportunities.
Oh, the star.
Okay, so your vagina had the star in it, and she saw that the opportunity apparently.
Either the star or the fool. Who
yes, the fool also works. The fool works.
So I do have a question, Bangs, because, and this is the thing, you're the first clown we've had in a long time.
Yay.
We love clowns.
I thought it was just gonna be first clown.
No, we've had so many clowns.
We've had a lot of clowns.
The thing is, because of the pandemic, we haven't had as many clowns. Now that we're getting back in the studio, we're having, hopefully you're the first of a lot. We've had the Yeasty Boys, the clown band. We had.
So Mark and I have been co-hosting together for a long time. We had a brief break where there was another co-host, but before we had clowns like all the time.
All the time. We had Clown Monroe, the late great Clown Monroe.
Yeah.
Ruru the Clown.
And one of our engineers was actually afraid of clowns.
Oh yeah, when we were at Studio.
Yeah.
Yes, she was so scared of clowns. Every time I would bring clowns in, she would be so scared, and I would have. Ghoul Hectic Clown, he would come on. We had all sorts of clowns, so...
There are all sorts of clowns.
Right.
That's true.
But here's the thing. Now, you were a female clown, and a sexy female clown. Now, the first time I had the late great Clown Monroe on, I had a couple clowns contact me and said, "Are you really going to have her on? Because the clown community doesn't like her because she's too sexy."
That's not fair.
Well, okay.
Now, how ensconced are you in the clown community, and are they jealous of you because you're sexy, or hate you because you're sexy?
Okay, I'll say this. There's so I kind of told you the story about me being at my Halloween party in the Nipple Pasties clown outfit. Origin story kind of thing. But from there, because I had only been a children's birthday party clown, I always thought I've had imposter syndrome around other clowns. I was like, it's not real clowning. It's kind of the waka waka kind of clowning.
Did you think your mother did real clowning?
Well, children's birthday party clowning is it's a whole thing. It's
okay.
Different. Not necessarily. There's elements, but it's its own thing.
Right.
And I went to clown school here in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this. Okay.
Called the Clown School.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, okay. And you learn about the art of clowning and what it actually is. There's not too much space for sexuality in there.
Right.
There's a little bit.
Now, what's the curriculum at Clown College?
Well,
if you know.
Well, in Clown 1, it's
like honking 101 and.
No, it's really all about being vulnerable and learning that to be funny, you kind of have to just bury your soul and wait for failure. If you try to be funny, you will not be funny.
Right.
And you just watch your other people just go up there and bomb because they're trying so hard. And then you go up there and you're just like, ha, I'm so terrible. And everyone's like, ha, ha, ha. And you're like, yes, I failed. And they loved it. And I don't know what's happening. And they're laughing. So I'm going to keep.
This sounds like a really shitty clown college. We want you to not be good.
Well, this is the essence of clowning.
I'm kidding.
No, I know. But it's all about failure and vulnerability and kind of I think that's why I became obsessed with it. It was the only place in my life where failure was applauded. And I'm kind of a perfectionist.
Right.
And I kind of like to hold on really tight to so much.
And
that was the first time where they're like, look so stupid, and I'd be like, ugh, and they'd be like, stupider, and I'd be like, what? Just over and over and over, and just kind of reveling in that. But so there's also what is hot in the clown community in Los Angeles right now is so far removed from this kind of classical clown that I just spoke of, where sexuality doesn't really it's like it can be there, but
Right.
it's not like you wouldn't come out as like a sex object.
Right.
Okay.
You just wouldn't.
But how
There's like a purity, like there's a pureness to
Mhm.
clowning.
There's
like,
an innocence.
It's more in line with like your inner child.
Right.
Like that, all of this like adult stuff, like it doesn't really come into play. It's like all boiled down to this like pure essence.
Yeah.
And so in that way I can understand why some clowns might be like, that's not a real clown or whatever. But what's happening right now is I went to a show the other night where it was like, yeah, it turned into this like wild masked clown orgy on the stage. It was hilarious. The whole audience was laughing.
Where was this?
At the Elasian
Ah,
Theater.
okay.
Over there.
Right, I know where it is.
Somewhere over there. So I don't know how other clowns feel about me. I've had clown to clown judgment for sure. Like one time I showed up dressed very similar to this to do this really dumb act that I do. Do you know the Katy Perry song Plastic Bag?
Right.
Somebody did an edit of that song where it's just the "Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?" over and over and over and over and over. And I just had a stupid idea of like, what if I threw a plastic bag as a sad clown every time she says plastic bag, which is 132 times.
That's a lot of
And so-
bags.
Yeah, it is. I got 135 just for a few that I might like miss or whatever. But or like get destroyed. But so I show up to do the show, and this like clown group had just finished doing a show, and one of them looks at me and says, "What kind of thing are you doing tonight?" And I said, instead of saying what I just said because it was too long, I was like, "Oh, I'm just doing this like Katy Perry plastic bag act." And she goes, "Oh, I get it. So you're like a Katy Perry clown." And I was like, "What?"
What does that even mean?
I was like,
what's a Katy
No,
Perry
I don't
clown?
know. I think she just was like, "Oh, you're doing some like you're not
Like a TikTok-y sort of thing.
or yeah, you're not like a real clown. You're just like some weird Katy Perry clown impersonator." Was like the vibe.
Right.
Like, and I wanted to be like, no, I'm a real clown, but like, it wasn't. And I just. And
You're a second generation clown.
I guess, but like, I don't know, what is clowning even? Anyway, some people take it way too seriously.
Yeah.
Obviously, which is funny.
Well, let me ask you, in the clown college,
Mm-hmm.
how many men to every woman? I mean, I don't see
Well,
a lot of female clowns in
I
the
would-
circus.
that's true, and historically there haven't been many female clowns, nor have there been maybe many people of color as
Mhm.
clowns, but just like historically, that's the way that it was due to this
Right.
culture. And how,
So it's like 10-1, like that kind of. or even more than that?
I think. Honestly, in the clown school that I went to, I would say it's 50-50.
Right,
Like, it
okay.
wasn't just
That's
like
pretty
I
good.
was the only girl in there, just
Right.
like surrounded by. But what I did love was sitting down in the room before every sort of new session opened, and it was like all the people would explain why they were there. It was
Mhm.
like my favorite thing. There was like a bodybuilder, like tough, like muscles guy named Matt, and he was like, they're like, "Why are you here?" And he was like, "My agent said I need to learn how to be funnier." Like, okay.
That's an LA clown
Yeah,
school.
there were like actors that were trying to be like, "Oh, I need to be funny," and then there were just like, I don't know, like some random guy that was like, "I've always been a clown, haha," and you're like, "Okay, all right." And then just like there was like a couple, like an elderly couple that were like, I don't know, we just trying to live life, like see what
We're
else is
retired.
out
We got
there.
nothing else to do.
And they were awesome. I loved them
I'll
so
bet.
much. It was just like such a weird mix of people, and I loved it so much. I felt more diverse, I think, than you would think.
Now, this is really when you felt like, okay, I'm gonna own it. I am a clown. After all these years of maybe an imposter.
Yes, although I do feel.
I love when you giggle like that. It's great.
Well, because I feel like I created Bangs the Clown because I wanted people to experience a clown in a different way than most people in America experience a clown, which is a scary clown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is, like, the most popular
Yeah.
thing, is, like, a scary clown. And so I was like, how can I bring them over the scary clown bridge onto, like, the not all clowns are bad, like, kind of thing. And so I was trying to do that. I also have just been sort of like obsessed with Bettie Page. I kind of wanted to be like the Bettie Page of
Right.
clowns. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of just, that was like the
That explains the
thing.
bangs.
Well, I just have those in my personal life, but I also now can never not have bangs then I don't know, change my name to No Bangs. That'll just be weird. But sometimes I get kind of tired of having to be attractive. What I like about my
tell me about it.
What I like about my plastic bag act is I just wear a plastic bag. Like,
Right.
I rip a thing from my head and my arms, and I go out there in a plastic bag. And I love it, because in my other acts where I wear, like, less clothing, I'm always like, oh, I can't eat this sandwich until after the show, otherwise I'll be all, like, puffy. But it's like, it's so annoying and stupid. When
Right.
I'm wearing the plastic bag, I'm just like, pasta for me, and do whatever I want, and then it doesn't matter. You're just in a plastic bag. And
that's a double standard, because most male clowns are kind of chubby.
Yeah, well, this is just me.
Like, traditionally.
Personally. Like, I could be chubby and be a sexy clown.
Yeah, of course.
For sure. But I just...
It's LA, we know.
Well, but I also, like, I'm very, very into surrealism and the avant-garde, and I've always wanted to be, like, weirder as a clown.
Oh.
And just that sort of, like, I did the, like...
Well, tell us the weirdest thing that you've done as a clown, since you're going to be a weird clown. What's the weirdest thing you've done in your clown act?
Weirdest? Funnest.
Let's do funnest.
Okay. So I've only done this act twice because nobody will let me do it.
Oh, no.
I know.
The next time you're on the show, we'll let you do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I couldn't, though. Let me tell you what it is first.
Okay.
So I basically made an outfit out of balloons, and then I do burlesque a little bit, and then I pop the rest of the outfit with fire, and then I eat the fire, and then I light a cake on fire, and then I smash the cake on fire with my butt. Then I cover myself in cake, and then I put a cherry on my head, and then it's done.
That's wonderful, and you definitely can't do that in the studio.
This is what I'm gonna. There was like so many venues. I was like, "Can I do my cake?"
They're like,
smash
"What the
act?"
fuck?
And I'm
We
like,
can get a tarp, Nicole. We can do it.
I had a tarp, but it's understandable. You can't do fire a lot of places.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, we do fire here all the time, but
that's cool.
yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Here's the other thing that happened when I met Banks. We were talking about it to Master Overbound, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on this podcast, and it was great, and I really liked it." And meanwhile, I'm there. It's like that's my podcast that he was on. I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to check Master Overbound. I wanted to check you out, so I saw this thing on YouTube, and it was a great show. And it's like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
I know I've lost weight, but still.
No, I think I knew that. I think I was aware.
Right.
I don't remember.
It was funny. Yeah, that was actually a fun night. But what's the secret about putting out fire with your butt? How does that? Is there a technique, or did you learn that at clown school, or?
It's just physics, like when you go with the thing, if your butt comes in contact with anything on fire, you'll put it out. You just have to make sure not to miss.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's you got to really have good butt control.
I guess yes.
Yes.
I mean, I practiced.
Did you practice at home, like putting fires out with your butt?
I guess not on fire. It was more like spatially. I was like, if I put my feet here and the cake is here, like where does the butt? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right.
So that kind of practice,
did you have the big clowny shoes on then, or?
No, I think because I grew up dancing my whole life, I'm like most comfortable wearing no shoes.
Right.
And so a lot of times I don't wear any shoes.
Okay.
But then.
Did the other clowns like, you can't be a barefoot clown?
I mean, well, when I'm doing my glass walking act, it would be weirder if I was wearing shoes.
Right.
It would make
Nobody
no sense
cares.
wearing shoes.
Yeah, everyone would be like, "Oh, good job." Like I've done that too. But yeah, I just got used to not wearing shoes because it's like weirder to find my balance. I also like even doing burlesque. I've been like, what if I just did it barefoot? And then I'm like, that's weird. Nobody does burlesque barefoot.
No, a lot of people do burlesque barefoot.
I know, but it's more
My
impressive.
friend Toledo Diamond has a wonderful private show at Petite Hermitage.
I know Toledo.
Yeah, I was going to say Toledo would love you.
I've been in his show. Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah. They almost always take, because they wear these beautiful heels when they get there, but they almost always take off their shoes for his performance.
Right. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be so hard on myself. But yeah.
You shouldn't. I don't understand. I mean, we're just blown away from everything in your story.
I love heels. Like, I love, like, the tallest of the tallest tall heels. Mm-hmm. Like
7-inch heels? How many inches can you take?
I mean, shoes are one thing, because it depends on if there's, like, a platform or, like, not.
Right,
then you're like, oh, it's a 7-inch heel, but if it's, like, a 4-inch platform. But anyways, I always want to, like, do the most, and I would love to wear crazy heels when
Mm.
I perform, but at this time I cannot.
Have you ever done stilts?
No,
That'd be cool. You should do stilts.
I'm afraid of heights.
Oh, okay. And it is pretty high.
Wait a second. You love high heels, but you're
Yeah.
afraid of heights.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
All
afraid
right.
of everything.
Speaking of fear, were you ever afraid of clowns, Kristy?
I don't have a clown fear, but I have a lot of questions.
Go right ahead.
Have you ever bombed as a clown?
Yes.
What?
How do you know?
Well, when the audience seems like maybe they've died or are actually potatoes sitting in the seat wearing glasses, like you have to check, you know?
Mhm.
Like there's just like literally nothing coming from them. And like I did a series of glass walking performances at the Morongo Casino.
Mm,
And
nice.
and I felt like everybody was there just like
That's like a tour.
I
That's a
think
touristy crowd that wasn't ready for you, I think.
Yeah, and the way that I was doing my glass walking act when I first started doing it, it was not as a clown. I was part of like an all-female sideshow troupe, and I just did it like really slow. And I thought that it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, probably boring, but that's how I was doing it then. And so I really felt awful after those.
Well, Kristy and I know. I mean, the thing that's good about comedy is you know when you're bombing. You know when you're bombing because there's nobody laughing.
And you're just sitting there and complete, like, you can hear, like, glasses or, like,
Right.
you know,
The
silverware.
silence is definitely
Or these days, you know, they're on their phones. And I hate to do this, the typical podcast question, but what's a fun bombing story?
I had a glass of water thrown at me in West Virginia.
Shit, if you got that on tape, you could have been on the Jimmy Kimmel show.
I know, I have it on recording, but it was before everybody was putting real clips of themselves on the internet.
Right.
So I just have the audio of it.
Oh.
But yeah, and I was soaking wet during the show, which I guess is like a clown act of sorts.
Yeah.
I would say in a certain way, or maybe a burlesque act.
Yeah, it was kind of a wet t-shirt thing. But
yeah.
now, what did you do to prompt that?
Some can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Please, we encourage profanity.
Some dumb drunk cunt was in the crowd and wouldn't shut the app.
Shut the fuck up.
And she was apparently the town drunk in West Virginia. Everybody knew who she was, and I stepped off stage. I did do the first hit, so she had a ponytail, and I just shook it to get her to shut up because
Oh, you actually touched her.
Yeah, it's you know, I've had other things where I didn't touch the person where people have come at me, but this particular one, she when I was on stage, she got up and she threw a glass of water, and then it just hit my glasses, hit my whole front, and then I was dripping from my crotch for the rest of the show, but I refused to get off stage.
Right.
That shit.
But not the good dripping from the crotch. The
No.
Okay, yeah,
No.
got it.
But you know, who knows? That could be my next act.
You never know. When I'm in West Virginia, I wouldn't touch the audience. That's just a pro tip for other comics. Don't touch the audience if you're in West Virginia. Recently, it's funny because I listened to your podcast, which I really like. I mean, you have more than one now.
I have 3 podcasts.
You have 3
right now.
podcasts, and but the one the glitter one, the
Trust Your Glitter.
Trust Your Glitter. I was listening to
that's
Trust
so
Your Glitter.
You have glitter.
Everybody's
I'm in.
Yes.
I heard the title.
Trust Your Glitter. So, but I was listening to Trust Your Glitter because I wanted to hear the Scorpio episode, and apparently this is after you were, and I was surprised. It's something that I don't even do, but you were touring the Northwest and sleeping in your car.
Yes, it's my second round of doing it, and July 24th, I was living in Austin, Texas at the time. I got rid of my apartment and then went fully on tour just to build myself back.
So you did the LA to Austin like everybody else did.
I've done everything to everything.
Right.
New York to DC,
Mm-hmm.
DC to LA.
Because there was a mass exodus from LA to Austin a couple of years ago when the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I did the road for a big part of the pandemic. I just went to red states that didn't believe, and I just went into bars with a lot of bikers and, you know, truckers, and just slept in my car and stuff during the pandy.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it because of the pandemic you thought, okay, this is all right, nobody's out, or that you could sleep in your car? Because I I would be. I've slept in my car, and I can't sleep because I'm always got one eye open because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But I can imagine, and I'm a big guy, and I can imagine it's scary.
It is.
It's scary even when you're talking about it.
It's scary. I had to teach myself that it's okay to like live in a place now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very helpful. It built me back, and I wanted to see if I could try LA again. It'll be 6 months on Valentine's Day.
Okay, well, no wonder we just met.
Back in LA, yeah.
Because like I said, a couple people have told me about you, but I didn't know you were back in LA.
I'm back. I didn't think I'd be, but I'm here now.
Well, they got a good clowning school here, so it's good. But Bangs, now it's like I said, you're so interested in astrology. I was so happy that I asked Kristy, and I do this. I just kind of like yesterday. I was like, "Could you bring your cards?" And you were so happy, and I will ask you the question I ask everybody, and it pisses Nicole off. I'm going to ask it anyway. If this is a true reading of the future, why do you need cards?
It depends. The reason why I started astrology is because I was in science and I needed proof, and I felt like astrology charts were like data plot points that really I could translate. I didn't get into cards until later, but the cards are kind of a flow, so it allows you to flow with the energy. You can read a card for the same card for all three of you, and it's going to mean something different based on, specifics. So when I do tarot card readings, I want to know your birthday, I want to know your question, and then I kind of go with the flow there.
Right.
And so why would I need cards? It gives me a visual to kind of cue off of the energy.
Okay.
So that's what it helps me to see, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm skeptical, so it doesn't, but that's fine. Actually, that's a really good explanation, isn't it, Nicole?
Yeah, they're just tools.
Right. Okay. Because like you said, I've had tea reads on the show. I've had tarot cards. It's fun. Bangs, would you like a reading?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so here we go.
Bangs, do you want more rosé?
Yeah.
I would, but then I feel like I'm drinking all the wine.
I already had a second glass, so
Right.
And I don't think she's going to.
Kristy, did you want another glass, or how drunk are we going to get this tarot reading?
And I want to be responsible, so
I'll split it with you.
Okay.
You don't have to drink alone.
Thank you.
Right.
I don't want to be like Happy Bobappy.
Was Happy Bobappy a big drunk?
Towards the end of his life was sad.
Right. Happy Bobappy got sad Bobappy?
In legal trouble for being drunk at kids' parties. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure he passed away. R.I.P.
There you go.
Do you still do kids' parties, or it's all burlesque and adult shows now?
I did them for so long.
You paid your dues. You paid your dues.
I can't do it anymore.
Okay. Well, sorry, kids.
Yeah.
Kristy, go right ahead.
I'm just gonna do like a big old and apparently there's a
It's a sign.
What's it for?
Card.
It's a sign.
It's a business card for a winemaker in Austin.
How ironic! How ironic!
That wasn't a sign.
Wait a second. Where's the bottle? Where's the bottle? Where's the bottle?
Right here, it's right
If
here.
this is the same wine, I will be astonished.
No, this is Saint Chateau Michel.
Okay.
This is for the Austin Winery, and I have this because it had a bee on it, and anyway.
Because bees are dope.
Bees are cool.
awesome.
Bees are dope, but what do bees mean to you?
Mother.
Okay.
Mother, queen, energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it.
Cool.
All right. And I know that based on today and everybody just flowing, that I know you'll probably want to do a full show with Bangs, but if you could give her a reading now.
Sure, I would love to have you on Trust Your Glitter. So just let me know, and I'd love to have all y'all on as well.
Right.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, do you have any specific questions going into the card reading?
Do I have to, or is it better if I do?
Whichever you want to go with. I might be more general, but I'll see what I can feel. Also, I am when the pressure's on, I do get nervous, so
Have a sip of rosé and you'll be okay.
And I know you're a Capricorn,
Mm-hmm.
so let's start out with 3 cards. We'll do a past, present, future, just to kind of start and kind of go with the flow from there.
Okay.
So just kind of go with your feeling.
Just pick 3
cards. I'll take a sip of
Obviously
rosé.
this one.
Perfect. So past, present, future. Do you want me to turn them around for the...
Yes, if you can for the camera.
I love your unicorn cards. They're incredible.
These are from my friend Kristen, who's also a reader. Her name is Lady of the Lamps. These were a gift for my travels. Because I like... Interesting enough, so this is your past position, is the Page of Wands. Now, for everybody listening, wands are fire energy, and it's generally related to initiative. So in the past position, we could translate that as like clown college, kind of in an intern energy or like beginner's energy. Yes, the past is beginner's energy, but in this particular card, the page is also like the newbie energy, where it's like starting over, being in this new energy. And with the wands, it's like kind of from the heart in certain ways. It's kind of like putting your heart out there, and see how this cute little unicorn is like looking at this one like, I don't know what to do with it. Now the other thing is, wands can also be like dick energy too. So it can also like be like, I don't know what to do with sort of this sacred,
with dick?
Or sacred masculine energy.
Oh,
or
okay,
sacred,
got it. All right.
You
know what to do with sacred masculine energy, don't you, Bangs?
Well, you're trying to be silly, but I do have trouble inhabiting anything that society would deem masculine, like aggression.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other ones? But yeah, that's interesting.
Well, you are submissive.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But even like in daily life things that would be like legitimately helpful.
Right. Like
yelling at someone who ran over your foot.
Right.
I'd always be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I put my foot right in front of your car so you can run it over.
And like asking for what you want. And it's interesting because if we were going to this is why I asked for astrology signs before, because for everybody it's a different karmic lesson. We were talking about Saturn before this podcast, but Saturn is your home planet. Mm-hmm. And for Capricorns, it's especially tough because it's like your life purpose is your career. Like Capricorns were basically born to work.
This is what I hate about being a Capricorn. No, and then I was like, oh, surely, that's just my sun sign, like my rising and my whatever. And then it turns out I'm a triple Capricorn. And then
what does that mean, Kristy?
Whenever I read about Capricorns, it's like they're very serious, determined, hardworking, and I'm like, I'm a literal clown. Like what? But I am serious.
But you're a serious, hardworking clown.
I work hard in what I'm passionate about, which happens to be clowning. But yeah, I always feel like Capricorn is like the poopiest one. It's like not fun at all.
Well, it's interesting. So I know.
Kristy, is Capricorn the poopiest one?
No, Capricorn. So there's so many layers to this. I'm trying to think about how to translate this for both you and for everybody listening, because this is deep. So Pluto, which is like the planet of the underworld, and then also gets kind of a rep of like, oh, is Pluto a planet or a dwarf star? And in astrology, it's kind of interesting because Pluto represents like that sacred purge that we're all going through. And Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2000, like end of 2007, 2008. So that's literally like a whole bunch of fuck shit going on in the world. And then with us, we have, I think your Saturn's in Scorpio.
Yes.
I think your Saturn is probably in Sagittarius, most likely, which is fire energy. So as a Capricorn, learn where your Saturn is, because that's where the karmic reset is going to be. Mm. And if you have your Saturn in Sagittarius, it is this fire energy, learning how to balance the fire, like you were saying. Like, now, one thing, if you're a triple Capricorn, which is like a whole other thing, this is a lifelong process. So even though this is a past card, I kind of see this as it's a past card, but the present card is justice. So these two cards tied together, write a letter to your past self. This could even be your 7-year-old self. This could be your 10-year-old self, your 28-year-old self. because these are big pivotal times of going through a lot of karmic resets in your life. With the Justice card.
Now the wheels are turning, Bangs. What are you getting from this?
I just also, as a student of psychology, I just wonder.
Say it, girl.
Well, I just wonder how this ties into like childhood trauma and sort of like this idea of like karmic resets, and how does that all come together? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So let's kind of broaden out, because every reader is going to be different, and my chart is a ton of Capricorn, Aries, and then my moon is conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius. So when I read, I'm literally a Saturn reader. I like reading for the law of karma. So my perspective of reading is like, okay, what usually comes out for me is, where do I need to go back in order for people to move forward? How do I take people back in order for them to find empowerment? Because sometimes we pull from these places in our lives that limit us, like limiting beliefs, these types of things. And for Capricorns, that is, and you have 3 planets, or your big 3 are in Capricorn, limiting beliefs is like your biggest, like the hurdle that you're working with. So the Justice card is saying, hey, the balance between the masculine and the feminine, give it a name to empower yourself. Where did that moment in your life where you couldn't speak up for yourself, where was that? Who, quote unquote, and I mean this quote unquote, tried to take away your power?
You even did air quotes.
It's okay, I know exactly who it was. It was my tiny mother. I'm not kidding. But yes, that makes sense.
And then the fact that your moon is in Capricorn, so moon is the mother in our chart. Saturn's technically the father, can also be the son, but the fact that yours are intertwined is the masculine and feminine lessons are intertwined. So if you need to write a letter, because the reason why I'm saying write a letter is Justice is an air card, and air is like words that we write. It's like sacred scribe energy, and then we're going into the future. Now, this is a tip for people who are reading for themselves. You can do this with cards that you get from the dollar store. You can get playing cards from the dollar store and just lay them out and be like, well, the future known as of now in this moment before you change your mind. So you have the power, especially as a Capricorn, to change your future. So 4 of Swords is saying, learn how to balance and rest. This is the card of rest. This is a card of literally self-care, self-nurturing, putting your body first, because Capricorn is ruled by the musculoskeletal system. So where you hold trauma is literally in your muscles and your bones. So like this, from these 3 cards, I would not read a Scorpio the same. I would not read a Leo the same. But for a Capricorn, I would read this as kind of learning this balance here. And with work, I'm going to have you pull 1 more card over this card just to see what an emphasis over your future card is. Aww, 2 fours.
Aww, what does that mean?
I know, I was like, is it good or bad?
Love. 4 of Wands is your heart energy. So 4 of Wands is it, and if you see the card, I don't know if you're, see how it's like 2 energies, and literally it's divine masculine, divine feminine coming together. Now, a lot of astrologers would argue we're in the age of Aquarius, and for those who believe in something called a twin flame, it's like the energy of literally the divine masculine, divine feminine finding balance. So literally in society right now, it's like we're seeing this duality around the world.
Yeah.
And,
but it is almost Valentine's Day.
And it is almost Valentine's Day. But in general, for the world, we are going through a 7-year, and this year is about a spiritual quest for everybody. And if I were to read this for your spiritual quest, it's literally like allowing your body to heal, but it's very mental here. Your middle card is completely in the mind. So let me know if you have any questions. I know I kind of go out in space sometimes.
No, I loved it. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Does that make sense to you, Banks?
It does make sense to me, and it's kind of a lot of things that I've been thinking about and contemplating, and really just being like, hey, keep doing all that stuff that you're terrified of. And like, but this is like, in the end though, it will be worth it.
And if you're looking for love, this is really, really good for love, but it's also good for just allowing creativity to come through, because it is a heart card. Like, it's like your heart is open, so it's very sweet.
Now, Nicole, you do readings. Have you ever gone like that when you pulled a card?
No, but I usually say, "Oh, this is a really good reading," or "Oh."
Because I've never seen that at a tarot.
Because whenever I see the tower, I just go, "Oh." I have to tell you, you pulled the tower, and I'm so sorry.
No, I've seen that. I've seen people pull cards and be like, "Oh," but I've never said, "Oh."
It made me feel special and like good things were coming. I liked it.
Well, Banks, you are definitely special and good things are coming.
Thank you.
Now, Nicole wanted to get a reading as well.
Just like a quick reading to see if what the future of my career is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's where I'm focused right now. I'm not focused on love. I'm focused on money.
I'm going to have you get a little tactile with this.
Okay.
Since you're a Leo.
Leos get tactile?
In certain ways, Leos are leaders. So I'm going to have you be a leader with it.
You want me to shuffle? I feel like I'm supposed to shuffle.
If you feel shuffle or if you feel spread. And I'm going to have you pick 3 cards as well.
Okay.
And I will step back and I'll hold kind of an observer's energy here.
I feel casino dealing is in your future. But what do I know?
Okay.
Now, is it because that she's a tarot reader that she was having a difficult time getting the cards, do you think?
No, I just was feeling more drawn to like one side of the deck than the other.
Right. But you're attuned to the energy though that a lot of people aren't.
So let's see the cards. I feel like there's going to be a few more that want to talk.
Okay. I probably should have left it out because I sensed that too. But I'll do it again.
And we're not actually going to do this past, present, future. We're going to do this as almost like we're a bird flying over for this particular one. So I'm just going to have you kind of flip them over.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Kristy's doing the reading, Nicole.
Okay, so we are gonna have to wait until after March 23rd for you.
Okay.
We were talking about Saturn earlier. I think for you, this is a transit, meaning like in astrology, it's just kind of waiting for things to kind of settle. The reason why I said okay is that 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups is saying, because yes, there's solidity in this Wheel of Fortune changing. The wheel is moving. Karma is trying to realign itself. Ace of Wands is saying a new opportunity is definitely on the way. A new creative experience is on the way. 7 of Cups is saying, but there's a couple more options that you just don't see quite yet. I do deeply feel in my heart that writing is involved as well. Do not shortchange your voice, ever. You're a Leo, you can't do that. You're here to roar. You're here to have your fire heard. It might be taking a tone of being a little bit more like an Ace of Wands. You see that wand is held high. It might be that you might have to put your opinions out there in a big way and get a little heat on it, but that's okay. So I don't know if there's like a writing project where you've been holding off or something where you've been afraid to sort of really put it out there, but this is more of an opinion piece or something related to opinions.
Okay.
I do feel the movement of Saturn into the sign of Pisces. That's March, hold up. So we have Pluto moving to Aquarius on March 23rd, Saturn into Pisces on March 7th. So I do feel later March is a good time to strike. Now I know we were talking earlier about the career trajectory that you want to head into, but it might be actually more. I see like 3 possibilities. so it might be holding 3 different roles at the same time.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you pick more cards over these. Do you have a further question into these questions?
No.
Okay. And I'm going to trust the number that you pick.
I was just going to pick 3.
Perfect.
Should I put them over each card?
We'll kind of see if, like, there we go. Perfect. So 2 knights, Knight of Swords, which is air, Knight of Wands, which is fire, and then Justice. So, I do think, even though with shuffling kind of going around, I do believe in synchronicity. So if 2 cards are kind of coinciding, it does mean that souls do come together when we're kind of in these sort of power shift moments or re-up moments. For you, I'm not going to read Justice in the same way that I would read you. I think for you, Justice is either related to maybe a financial situation that occurred. I don't know if funds were withheld. I don't want to get into personal stuff, but if it's like something related to taxes or anything related to like what I call what's called 8th house stuff, which is kind of the realm of the underworld. So that's that kind of stuff that surfaces. So if it's like inheritance, taxes, anything related to old money, and I do hear like patriarch. So one thing that if you had a financial situation that kind of screwed you over and you want to complain about it, meaning like tell other people that this happened to you, or a situation where you were like an injustice occurred, this is you using your words, Knight of Swords, words, voice, writing, speaking. Knight of Wands, creating an action around it, and then Justice. So I do think this is actually like, say somebody else got a job over you, or say you saw some shit go down and you literally were meant to get paid for that. This is saying, yes, you were meant to get that win. It's just that it was a lesson of learning how to let go of resentments, cord cutting, things like that. This is also literal for you. I do think that Libra season, this up 2023, is a really good time for you to submit work. I think if you're writing, get a body of work ready and just submit it out. Because Libra season for you is a time when all of that sort of energy culminates and comes together. So emails, sending out to wherever you want your work to be seen and heard. Small publications, and I hear The Cut, so I'm just going to put it out there, The Cut, and then also a publication where they use purple, like violet purple, as like their banner. Like, I don't know if violet purple makes any sense, but that's what I see pop in my brain when I see the Justice card.
Okay.
The financial situation, I don't want to get specific, but we're aware of a financial situation where you were screwed. That might be something that she's referring to.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't sound like it's what you
I don't want
wanted
to
to
go
hear.
too much into it. But it does say that one thing that I thought would be potentially lucrative would probably be lucrative.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good.
If hemp, okay, the thing with violet purple is also I hear hemp.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's like a place where you can advertise your writing that also does like hemp.
There is. Yeah, that's like the third nail in the coffin for what I'm thinking of.
And you can also. I think what she's saying is you're gonna be a columnist for High Times. I think that's what's gonna happen,
Well,
which would be good. Well, this is some great energy we had in this room.
Yeah, for sure.
The show went up by real fast, and you know what that means.
Good energy.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
So, I can't believe we just started 2023, and I met 2 amazing people and 2 amazing guests.
Absolutely.
And Kristy, thank you so much for the reading. Do you need to decompress? I can go to Bangs first and then get to you.
Well, I'm just grateful to be here. Thank y'all so much for having me. It's very nice to meet you.
No, we loved having you, and I have a feeling we're going to have you again. But tell everybody what you have going on about all 3 of your podcasts.
Absolutely.
And any comedy shows or anything you got going on.
Sure. You can find me on Spotify, Trust Your Glitter Podcast. I also have a podcast with Jake Bassey. It's called Hospice Trap House.
Right.
Also on Spotify, and you can just check me out there.
And also check out your YouTube channel, and you posted an interesting Valentine's stand-up bit that has to do with apparently you're a size queen. I don't know what's going on there, but it's got some real big dick energy, so it's really good. So, and follow on all social media. Your Trust Your Glitter on Instagram.
Trust Your Glitter and Kristy Belich on all social.
Yes, thank you, Kristy, and thank you for the readings and bangs.
Yes.
It's your first podcast, and you were amazing. You're a natural, Kristy. You have 3 podcasts. How great a guest!
Incredible. You need your own.
Yes.
You need to do your own.
Nicole.
Awesome. Totally
Yes.
awesome.
Bangs, you are amazing, and
I feel honored to be back in the studio with the first time since I don't remember.
Since December.
It was a long time. Oh, this December?
Last December.
Oh,
This is 2023.
Okay. Wait,
This is the first studio show of 2023.
No, I feel honored to be here with you all. Thank you so much for having me.
No, as I said, when I met you, I was like, we just hit it off right away, and then she's a clown, and she does fire and stuff, walks on glass, and all this other stuff. I was like, wow, you're a natural for the show.
Having me.
No, and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, what you got going on.
Yeah, I mostly just whenever I have a show, I announce it on my Instagram, which is Bangs the Clown.
Bangs the Clown.
Also, for the record, I only have one Instagram. I don't know if you have other guests on the show. Like, I thought clowns would be immune to this, but they just, like, steal your picture whenever you wrote about yourself in your profile, and then they just, like...
Oh, you're getting fake Instagram profiles.
Yeah, and then it's, like, adult content for Bangs the Clown, and I'm just, like, it's embarrassing, because only 14 people follow it. I'm like, excuse me, if I had an adult, like, clown site, it would have more than 14. Like, that's so insulting. And then my friends will follow it, and I have to message them, I'm like, that's not... me, and they're like, oh, I was trying to support you. Anyways.
More than 14 people will be jerking off to me. I mean, let's be honest.
So it's not Bangs the Clown _
Right.
That's the not real one.
That's the knockoff Bangs the Clown.
Yeah.
Nicole, I know, has had knockoff Instagram. And Kristy, have you had knockoffs? Well, maybe that's in your future. Maybe it's in the cards. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't perform as much as I used to. It used to be more, I was like trying to do as many shows as possible all the time. And I've kind of come to the place in my life where there are shows that I know that I like to do, and I'll do those. Mm-hmm. And that's once in a while.
Okay.
But I post about it on my Instagram.
So follow Bangs at the real... Yeah, it's not the real. It's just Bangs the Clown.
Yeah, no underscores, no dollars.
Not Sally Bangs the Clown. It's because I don't know if you're familiar.
I looked it up. There is a clown named Sally Bangs.
Yeah, but she's not Bangs the Clown. At Bangs the Clown.
Yeah.
Nicole, what do you have going on?
I am Nicole6 Books on Instagram and at Nicole H6 on Facebook.
Trust me, this is better than any fucking Super Bowl and any of that bullshit.
Agreed.
And I am Goth Comedian on all social media. And very exciting, today, Nicole, I got gothcomedian.com back. And that will be up in about 48 hours.
That's amazing.
So I haven't had that for a couple of years. And I've just had such a great time. And everybody, enjoy your Super Bowl party. Enjoy Valentine's Day. I had a blast tonight. And I'll have a blast crying and listening to Tori Amos by myself on Valentine's Day. And everybody... have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.